Hey everyone, Derrick here for a Donkey Kong Bonanza analysis. And while I would love to be able to write out a full script and get this thing ready to go and have it all nice and clean and really show all the details I've noticed in looking over this trailer frame by frame in order to spot every little detail I could, I also realized that the treehouse is not that long away, and a lot of these details that I'm finding might actually be revealed during that presentation. So rather than all this work be put to waste, I decided to just take it off the cuff, where I have my 7 pages of notes looking through this 2.5-minute trailer and go over each of it bit by bit with all of you, showing off what I've learned. So I just have a very simple setup here where I just have the YouTube video running at 25% speed in 4K in order to show as much detail as possible. And I'm going to use my wonderful mouse here to show off every little detail I can. Now, hopefully it will show up while it's paused. So there we go. We have some pausing here. So we can take care of this. So let's get this whole scene brightened up as we begin. And yeah, here is our first real scene of Donkey Kong Bonanza. And right off the bat, we got banana crystals all over the place. We see them just here, just everywhere as you can see. And we'll find out their use very much later on. Basically, whenever you break them, you'll get gold nuggets, which seems to be the main currency and kind of the replacement for bananas from the old school games in terms of what you're collecting. Now, there is a centralized egg structure here, which does tie into things, because while these animals here do resemble snakes, they're not snakes. These are actually the necks of ostriches, as we'll see later on. And one of the key things that I've discovered as I've gone through this trailer is that every single level has a theme around a different animal. And I'll be able to show that more and more as we go along. There are enemies that we can see throughout, like we have these 2 hovering enemies right over here. We have this googly-eyed blue rock here, which I still don't know their full purpose or point at this point. They might be NPCs, but they also might be enemies. It gets really confusing, especially thanks to a scene we'll get to later on. However, we do have a legit enemy over here, this spiky red rock guy here. But the other core thing with all of this is that we have these purple vines surrounding portions of the ostrich's neck. And those definitely tie into an overall theme that we'll see with the villains as we go along. Otherwise, as I look over my notes here, there are 3 coins that can be spotted right here in the front. And we'll get better looks at those later and even see a possible purpose for those later on. But the best I can come up with just right off the cuff right now is they work a lot like the purple coins that could be found in Super Mario Odyssey, as later on we'll even spot a shop. So we'll just continue on here and marvel at the little details as we go along. We can even see this little explosive guy running around, which has some significance to a fight later on involving DK. He's also in the front here, so you get a better look right here. But I'm not going to worry about this one part too much, just because we do get a better look later on. There's also a sort of fuse on top of here, which we never see the real origin of what that means. It could be a bonus, it could be a special item. It's hard to say for sure, but it definitely signifies something important in there. DK just never digs into it in the time that we have the trailer going on. But yeah, we have continue on as we see just all the little leaves falling down, getting that little detail, that idea. And a very nice idea to have just giant eggs as the structure for an ostrich themed level. I don't know. I like the theming. I think it works. But yeah, we'll just move on into our next one as we zoom in. And here we go. Here's our next level. And this continues where I'm talking about with each level has a theme. And right off the bat, it's very obvious, thanks to this little rock guy who's wearing a giraffe costume for some reason. I couldn't tell you exactly why, but we also have a giraffe in the distance over here. So we can see that that is the theme. And then just the color of giraffes, like right there's the spots, very much in the same way, very much the same way has the spots here. Even this cactus on this side is giraffe themed. And of course, we also have our eyes drawn to more of the gold statues. And of course, our minecart, which we only see a little bit of, and I'll get into a bit later when it comes to that. Again, the big question is what the heck this googly eye's purpose is, especially when he's dressed up like a giraffe. There seems to be another googly eye guy here who's more like a house, and they're not as threatening as we see other enemies be, but again, DK has a certain way of interacting with one of them later on, not as distinct as these. That leads me to confusion because I don't know whether these are enemies, NPCs, or just guys you can kind of mess with. It's really hard to say. We also have this neon slab over here, which I couldn't tell you what this is. There's a few that pop up very early on, but then they quickly disappear, and I don't really understand their purpose one way or another. But they all are around, and obviously they do play into some significance, whether that's hints or a guide or who knows what else. But essentially the theme of all this is a construction yard, as we can see in the background here with all the lifts and so forth. It's tying it all together. So yeah, we'll just continue on till we get to our next scene. I don't want to mess with the speed too much, but again, we get to just take in the appearance of these levels, and they are really detailed and quite gorgeous all throughout. Really do like that. We even get this like a smoke coming out, which we'll see later. Here we go. Our next level, which is a snow themed level and seems to be rabbit themed. We'll let them play out a little bit so we can pull out here, because our rabbits come in the form of this structure over here, which kind of looks like a rabbit, honestly, with the way the ears are squared off, the brow, the eyes underneath. We get a more typical rabbit type shape here that we can check out. And of course, more of our blue rock guys, and even the neon slab from before, and of course more gold bananas. So it's very strange in that way. There's also structures in the back. We can see little lamps lining the entire path to just get a better sense of what everything else is going on here. And there's some sort of house structure in the back that we can access with two spotlights, one going in a more diagonal sense and one forward. That makes it seem a bit like a train. There's also, of course, another one of those gold banana structures, not even banana, they're goldish structures just here in the distance. Right there. We also have these crystals here, which are a little nondescript, but as I can confirm later from other arches, there's a lot of arches in this game with nondescript writing on it. It is some sort of writing telling you where things are, and it's even kind of welcoming because we have a flag here. A set of flags here is almost like in the celebration, or like, it reminds me of kind of racing flags to a degree. But you can see those right there, but they are vaguely banana shaped, and that is very much on purpose, as we'll see later as things go along. So we'll just wait out here. We got even a red glow here. Might be from an enemy, might be from another one of those sparks that come out. And next we have a much more wide open area with a very obvious giant rock banana in the distance. And even this looks to be another one of the slabs, the neon slabs that we've seen, just it's not neon this time. And this one might even be another one. And here's one that's just flying up in the sky for no apparent reason. It's just sort of there. There's also another banana just on its side, and as just a singular rock structure. And we're not going to let it zoom in quite yet, because we also have, speaking of neon, this blue and purple thing on the ground. this symbol on the ground that signifies something. What? I don't know. This does come across as a starting area in the grand scheme, because it's much more wide open than anything we've seen. It feels like a playground for DK to sort of get his bearings on what exactly is going on. There does seem to be a single enemy right here that could give trouble, and there might also either be another one of those flares or a torch or something here. It's a little too far away to really tell for sure, so just have an eye out there. There is this structure in the background is kind of dragon-like to me. It could also be a larger version of those banana golden bits. It's hard to say for sure. with it being through the clouds. We do get a few other looks at this area from other angles, showing how big it is. This is a fun area. So we got Ingot Isle, which is actually where the story begins, as I'll get into later, which is basically toward the end of the trailer. So we have several signs here. We got Gold Rush, we've got money, we've got bed and banana, instead of bed and breakfast, just plain old gold. It really comes across as sort of like a villain for it, and it might still be at this point, like with the way it's colored. It has the more purplish glow to it, and everything surrounding it, like it might be a little bit corrupted, but it's also done in a way that's very much in that style that we've seen before. It's hard to say. Like, I honestly think this is the opening level, Ingot Isle, but I also love these two other bits. We have Poker Chimps instead of Poker Champs with this sign right here. And my favorite, if you zoom in on this one, instead of karaoke, it's karaoke, as in, ook ook monkey. So fun. I like it. We also have the red girders from the original Donkey Kong here. Very much acting as construction equipment from this side, as we can see. I do think this is a remodel done by the villains later on or early in, from what I can see before, because we get to these chimps here working in a much better idea of the red structures from the original Donkey Kong, all of the gold nuggets that are just readily available as they all work. They all have a very distinct Diddy-like vibe to them. They're just in construction outfits, and more importantly, they're all kind of wearing an outfit that we'll become familiar with. Hard hats and the overalls, which Donkey Kong will be wearing through most of this trailer. I think that's a very specific choice, and also lends credence to the idea that this is the first level. I think very much like Super Mario Odyssey, DK is going to be able to change clothes as time goes on, and he just matches the clothes of the other monkeys around here. Now, I did wonder if they are like slaves or anything like that, but no, I think they are working on their own. There's no like guard or anything like that. And honestly, I think the one running this whole operation, at least in the beginning, is Donkey Kong, again, based on story stuff that happens much later on. And, gotta appreciate the just warning authorized monkeys only. Just, I love the little details like that as we go along here. But we'll shift over here to our next one, where we finally get our introduction to DK. We'll fast forward through this bit here where he pops in through this to get our grand introduction. And here's our newly redesigned Donkey Kong. Don't have a whole lot to say, except I love how expressive he is, how fuzzy he is. It takes a little bit of getting used to and just seeing him like this, but he does look like your standard DK here. He just gets way more expressive rather than staying on a single face. Now here's the fun part of him running through this grassy area, which also confirms that this is not the first level. It's an early level, but it's not the first, because throughout the rest of this trailer, he will have this purple rock guy, his little rock buddy, attached to his back at all times. He is just the buddy this time around. This is his Cappy, essentially, and he does not have it here. So this is his reemergence, where he's sort of getting his bearings, and eventually he will meet up with our purple rock buddy here to get it all established. But back into this grassy area where he's running through. Other great detail, every blade of grass here is shaped like a banana. Every single one. I'll see if I can get a spot here where it like kicks up some of the... Yeah, here we go. It kicks up some of the grass, and you can much more obviously see it where it's curved like a banana. So very banana themed level, thanks to all the rock structures and so forth. Hard to say exactly what else is really can see here. We can see more of the floating islands. We get a better idea of this golden structure in the background. We can see the giant banana bunch rock in the distance here. So just to get an idea of just how big this area is. We do have a banana here with a purple glow to it to indicate a bit of corruption, which we'll kind of get into later. It's hard to say exactly at this moment. But yeah, he just runs through here and yeah, basically just I was positing. I'm looking through my notes here because I just put them down there. What I was seeing, actually, real quick before we flip over, I think we can see. Yeah, we get a bit more of the structure down below, where we can see the dips in here. A little bit more of the stuff that you can see. Another little kind of banana-like structure here. Another leaf, again, really showing how it's a banana. Just really showing how everything is. And now we're in a snow level. We're back in our snow level where we have our bunny themes yet again. Our rock buddy is there as DK runs through. There is a path here. If we just go back slightly. That's too far, but that's YouTube for you. I just like the quality here and being able to show it. I feel I can slow down much more easily. But yes, we have a path here and more of the lights all around that we can check out. But there's a path leading up to this centralized structure while a bunch of stalactites are hanging out above, leading to a much more cavernous feel for this level in its way. Where its ultimate goal is hard to say, but you know, it's an open structure, so DK can kind of go anywhere. But this might funnel him towards stuff. There are other buildings here where we can see symbols of things he might be able to do or just other ideas. It's hard to say for sure exactly what those might entail, but they are there that he can take care of. The other interesting thing here, and I'm not sure if it's a lighting aspect or not. Let me just get slightly back. That's too far back. But here, actually, this is a good opportunity. Right here, we can clearly see that DK's pants are green. But as we go into the snow level... Whoops. I clicked too much and full screened it. I apologize for that. It's close enough. We can see that it is blue. There it is. They're blue, much more jeans-like. So you can see how at least the color of DK's core outfit here can be changed, and obviously we can see that he can take off the helmet if he so desires. The other fun thing here, as we'll let the animation play out, he will look towards stuff that he can do. You can even see that smile on the left here, and he even keeps the smile on for a while just to indicate like, hey, if you're looking from ahead, he did see this stuff. You should probably check it out and see what the goodies that he found are. But we're back in our desert level with all the giraffes. We can see the giraffes once again. We have a stone bench, which does not look comfortable in the slightest. More of the gold structures, more buildings to sort of lay out stuff. And then these, again, more weird, googly green rock formations, which I don't know what those guys are all about. Let's see. Again, I did posit that this could work like the crazy cap, and I don't know exactly what this one does, but there is a currency around here that we will see. And we can even see this, again, another sort of flowing out aspect here that we saw in the ostrich level. I think it's very much like that, where there's something special in this pile. But this also leads to another idea of confusion with these rock creatures, where as DK runs by this one, he just transforms into a question mark. And I don't know whether that means he's a citizen. He's like, who are you? This is like, hey, this is a hint system. You can talk to him and get an idea. It's really difficult to say. But yeah, we just get in closer here. And it does, you know, this is almost totally developed by the same team as Mario Odyssey as he gets in closer. And we can see more of it. And just, again, the verticality of a lot of these levels, we can just see in the distance how it goes up, and you can see more of the construction equipment and how the level evolves as you make progress. There's also other little things that you can see, like here's a green glowing diamond. Don't know what the purpose of that is, but it's glowing green and it seems to have some sort of purpose. But it might also tie into, like, this seems to be that same area that we were in before. Just, you know, much farther out. And perhaps this is what's putting out this sort of weird emanation in the center here. But we can see all the structures, and we can see that where the minecart was that we've seen in the much closer up earlier, and where the track leads into the mountains. But we don't see the rest, though it doesn't look like, it's hard to tell whether there's actually going to be a minecart sequence, but it does lead elsewhere so the DK can go places. And we have just regular crates here, some like a little mine shaft that you can see, but there's also other bits where there's something blue here that he can access, and another like glowing blue and purple panel that we saw in the grassy area. So what these do for him is unclear. That being said, I don't think you need to stand on those in order for DK to climb up farther. It just doesn't seem like part of the moveset. He just seems to naturally be able to do this. And there's even like little holes here that he can just go into and explore more of to see what that's all about. We get a new level theme here that we'll revisit, honestly, a lot, where it's kind of beaches themed, or at least riverbed, where we can see the gold nuggets in the riverbed. We also see that DK has a roll maneuver straight out of Donkey Kong Country, and we have the yellow grass here as we go along. So he's able to do a little leaping jump, climb up, and just really show the ease of it. There seems to be a boating theme, like this appear to be some docks or something related to that, because we can see a boat here. We have this monkey shaped mountain in the distance. And just again, the versatility of Donkey Kong is he does a quick roll, uses that to jump up and just quickly climb up to the next level as we get up here, where we get some more characters, namely another boat, a floating water bubble, don't know how that works, and these chimps. There seems to be like an acorn or a burger or some sort of thing here, and two different monkeys. This one I almost wonder if there's going to be like mini games involved in some places. Like this guy I could see giving you a fishing mini game type thing, or this guy having you ride on something down this wherever to just go further down. It's hard to tell for sure, but that seems to be the case. Also, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but monkey faces on the leaves. You got little eyes, the little nostrils, and here's the mouth going through there. Again, just for the theming of all the animals for each of these levels. It's pretty neat. And of course you get the citizens. So I do wonder if DK will be able to dress up in this outfit if he so chooses at some point during this, much like Odyssey. And then this is where we get into the big gimmick of DK, where we're back in the grassy area. He's jumping over one of the bananas and is able to do a ground pound straight down with his fist. And before we get into that, again, banana indentations on the rock. Nice little detail. Although we have this like fossil on the side of the rock, and I have no idea if that's a special thing that he can find, a collectible, or if it has some other purpose. But there's definitely something to be found here. It might tie into what seems to be a coin later on, but it's not coin shaped. It's sort of specifically almost character shaped here. It's hard to tell, but we'll get into that a little bit later. More importantly, DK is able to drill his way through the ground, sending out a bunch of gold out from beneath, which it does have an explanation as we go on, because typically he's not going to get a bunch of gold like that, but he immediately starts punching, and as he punches through, let's see here, we get our coin. This is the same as those coins that we saw in the distance very early on. And yeah, he's just able to go down, it seems like a certain amount of squares, and then punch a certain amount of cubes forward, I guess is a better way to put it, as he escapes. So yeah, he just has all this. I don't know exactly what this symbol is. It's just like a 6-pointed bit here. It could be compass themed. That's my best guess, but it's difficult to say exactly what it's going for. But yeah, here we go. We can actually see it here where DK has all these nuggets bursting out, because it turns out there's a lot of nugget clumps within the ground, and by punching through them, you will likely find plenty more to get a bunch of nuggets. What those nuggets actually do, whether they're a currency or just work like the bananas and get you lives or have some other purpose, hard to say, but they are everywhere, especially in these clumps. But yeah, DK gets to run forward and get back into the ostrich level, where again we have more of these gold structures, and get our look at our diminutive main villain. At least that's what it seems to be, because he has his posters plastered up over here, and we have our purple poison water, which very much Mario 3D World coded. and even have an arch here with the ostriches with more of the sort of banana font. that is what it is. It's a banana font throughout all these. And we even have like giant vegetables that DK might be able to pick, especially because this really matches the symbol of this. And I feel like these have to be picked up and thrown in order to make it further. And we can even see our ostrich character right here in order to have more. And of course, more of the flying enemies that we've seen previously. But yeah, not only can DK dig, he can just rip out a section of the rock and use it to just continue to lay waste and just burst through. And you can see the little bits of gold nuggets popping out. And as he breaks these, of course, it's a way to get even more nuggets from that whole structure. But of course, we get to see more of the poison vines, see how that all looks. See another enemy right here. But there's a lot of versatility to DK's abilities in this game. So continue on through here as we get to our next level, where I believe this is part of the giraffe level based on just the look of the structure. And we have this cactus here, which is vaguely giraffe shaped based on what we've seen prior. I think it's the same level. It seems pretty likely. And we can see that he doesn't have to dive down. He can just pound his way down, and we can see even more of these gold clumps as he just punches his way through. And kind of impressive if the camera just really show what he's doing as he's going through all of these. And that's also the other reason I think DK can just climb infinitely, because who knows if you punching horizontally out of a place will get you out. Maybe you'll be up next to something and you can't really get out any other way, so you have to go back the way you came. So being able to climb infinitely makes sense in order to get back out of this hole. And actually, did I spot, is there like a lizard? Yeah, look at that detail. There's a lizard hanging out just here as a detail. Just, you know, I didn't even see it the first time, but yeah, there's just a little lizard just livening up the entire world, just making it feel that much more lived in. Although DK is, of course, destroying everything in his path. We also get the indication that we'll have multiple different types of rocks. Whether or not it's just this rock or not is hard to say. But this is a good old spaloti rock, as we see here, revealing the entire side of a mountain. We're very much in the yellow grass area once again, as we've seen a few times now. Yeah, you can just see, again, more of the nugget clusters just in that little area, and how just punching them through will clear it out. And as we crest the top of this bit, we're going to let it play out just a little bit further here so we can see a bit more. There's a lot more to this level as we go along. We have this entire pool over here where a green pipe is leaking into it, like it's broken open. You can see a path leading into the side of it. Who knows with DK's climbing ability, if he's also able to just swim up these waterfalls of water, or even what this pyramid thing does in this portion. There's even these weird bits where you have these cubes, these floating cubes of silver triangles. Don't know what they are. Again, we got more of these sparks coming out, again, maybe hinting at possible secrets or who knows what else. There seems to be a purple structure right here that seems to be a almost cola shaped. It might tie into the ultimate goal, which we'll see later, where there's a certain thing under glass later in the trailer that we'll get to see. And we also see how the layout of the land changes from this standard sort of rocky path with yellow grass to this more red structure over here, to see how, again, the land shifts and changes as DK travels along it. So fascinating in that way. And can even see, it looks like this is an enemy with a sword. It's really hard to tell. It's holding, this character is holding something in his hand. And we even have sort of a standard block here. It's definitely the same as the explosive block, but it's just a cube. And we'll get a closer look at it with no clear indication of exactly what it does. But we'll continue on here for now as we go back to the snow area where Donkey Kong's punching through the snow. And here's where I get confused, because we have another one of those googly eyes, and DK just punches right at him. He just punches him in half, punches him again, so he's just a set of eyes. And the way his eyes sort of curl up. I can't tell if he's enjoying that or not. It's very strange. But he makes that look, even with Donkey Kong hitting over here and him not being anywhere near it. So apparently just being near DK causes him to have that reaction. But again, doesn't seem to be enemies because they don't blow up in the same way. But apparently you can just destroy NPCs or leave them as just eyes if you so choose. I don't know. I don't know what the purpose of these guys are. Maybe they're tutorials. I could not tell you. It is probably the most mystifying thing about this entire trailer for me. But yeah, we get through here and hey, we got our little villain over here. We can, let's see if we can pause better. There we go. Where it might be a little difficult to see, but if you read it, it says, see a banana? Mine, mine, mine. So he's all about getting all the bananas for himself. But of course, this is the ostrich area, as we can see, more of those sparks coming out. And as we continue on, we have these mechanical guys here, which are getting ready to explode and have gold googly eyes, which we'll get into here soon. But DK does a roll that knocks it right back into the red spiky guy, who's actually getting ready to pick up a rock in order to toss it at DK. And he just explodes real nice. And this is also with this arc right here, or arch. This is where you can really see that it's just a banana language for some reason. It's DK. It's a banana language, sure. But yeah, he explodes into tons of different particles. And notably, we can actually even see little purple circles amongst all this from that destroyed enemy. And that will come into play throughout the rest of the trailer as we go along. Something I also missed the first time that becomes much more obvious later on, that is just the covering. The actual enemy is this gold dragon looking creature here that is still holding the rock that DK destroyed, but his armor is now gone and he can be much more easily taken out. There's also another explodey guy over here, and destroying those guys also gets you another one of those coins. So those coins are going to be rather common and they're not going to be needed to be found in the same way as the purple coins in Mario Odyssey. We can also see a regular golden banana over here, has a bit of a diamond top to it, which might also be the green glowy diamond that we saw in the distance before. We just didn't see the banana structure either. It's just a matter of finding a way to that, and I feel like those kind of serve as our power stars as we go further along, but those definitely seem to be the real goal of each of these levels. As DK just sort of avoids the enemy and just rolls right over him. This is a brand new level themed to, it's just a cave level. I believe the theme is going to be around mice because these lamps over here are definitely shaped like mice. So there's sort of our animal theme for this one, but it also has some cave paintings, which seems to depict a monkey in a hat, wielding a paddle, going along a canoe, but he also has it loaded with something which is likely gold, which might explain why our very much gold-obsessed villains are going after this area in particular. But yeah, here's our best example of DK doing that roll forward, taking out the stone structure, revealing this gold guy right underneath, and a simple punch later, he goes flying into the other enemy, explodes, leaving a little bit of a crater, taking out his armor, even though he's using his rock as his rock weapon as a shield, but you can still see the tail coming out there. So yeah, that is very interesting. It should also be worth noted, if I can make sure I don't miss it here. Let's see. There's a very specific thing I want to make sure I don't miss in my notes here. Yes, it is in... No, it's... Yes, I did miss it earlier. 1 second, let me back up here. So as we go back, apologies. I'm trying my best to follow my notes, but also go off of memory. We got DK going along. We got that coin. But if we pause here, there's also this. And if we go a little further and pause it, this looks like a fossil or some sort of stone engraving. Again, similar to that stone that we saw, the fossil looking thing in the stone banana earlier. This is Gnawty from Donkey Kong Country. That is the exact design, the exact pose, the exact bulgy eyes. This is a Kremling in this game. What does that mean? Is it just for collectibles? Is it just for here is the history of Donkey Kong and all the stuff he's experienced? It's hard to say. I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know if they're going to go over it in the treehouse. It's hard to say exactly, but that is Gnawty right there. And that also makes me wonder, as we again break apart these guys, again, it looks dragonish. What if that's not a dragon? What if these are the gold skeletons of the Kremlings themselves? What if these three monkeys that we'll see are a misdirection and actually are being employed by K. Rool? Far-fetched, maybe, but Gnawty being there is definitely leading me to think that it is a possibility. And I am very curious about that whole idea. But we're back in the yellow structure, the yellow grass area here, where we see that the red in the distance was more of a redstone, kind of a shale type look for it. Another boat. See another enemy, except he's wielding a red hammer this time. See another one of those exploding cubes. Next to, like, it's on the same type of thing that we saw in the distance before, where it's pinned down, has ropes, seems to be covering something. And perhaps exploding it will lead to something else. I don't know. Unfortunately, DK never interacts with it. Instead, he picks up this exploding rock and uses it to take out the enemy here. But we can also see this gold structure here, which we do see later on pop in, except it's completely covered by this glass. And this might be the same as the cola thing we saw in the distance. This is obviously much lower, so maybe not. But again, here's more of those circles that we've seen emanating from enemies, sort of denoting the corruption that we've seen. So maybe that all ties into it. Again, those purple circles are right there. It's definitely the mark of this new villain. So let's just go ahead and let the explosion play out here so we can see that all happen. And then we get a shift to a much more vertical view as we're on top of one of the shafts of the giraffe area. Can see much more of it all around. It's hard to get anything too distinct from any of this. There's a little bit of a chest enemy boombox type thing. We'll get another angle of that later. It has a propeller on it, but there is notable there. But yeah, DK just jumps straight forward and goes straight down. And there's a few structures, like we got this sort of spiky thing here. There's another purple one here, but it's hard to really get into any real details as he jumps in. And this could be like the entrance to like a big boss battle, which we'll get into as we again further down the trailer. And it transitions into this where it looks like it might be the fist, but it's not. It's just DK falling down happily into this world, which I think is how he enters a new area. This is his entrance into a level as he lands and just clears out everything to show that destructibility of the environment. Already can see this, but it's also confusing because, well, right in front of him is a golden banana bunch, which seems to be a very important item that he wants to get. So maybe they're spread out throughout. Like this would seem to be the main goal of this game, but it's hard to say for sure because I just don't see him collecting one. And this just seems to be out of nowhere. It seems like the beginning, or it could just be the transition to this part of the level. But as we can see, like it goes beyond that. And we also see that DK has a new ability with the rock where he's carrying a rock and he's able to spin it and then ride on top of it. So perhaps because it's showing him using this ability after where we saw that banana bunch, perhaps every one of those banana bunches unlocks a new move for DK, and now he can use these rocks as a sort of board to slide around on. Again, we got more of the sparks here. We got 3 of the ostriches around. There's obviously something behind these spiked rocks here. More things to probably pick up and throw. But yeah, I do wonder if the triple banana bunches, golden banana bunches, is what allows DK to perhaps get new abilities as he goes along. He as we can see here with his little motion, he's even able to speed himself up as he goes along. So just a fun little detail there. Again, this is another, we're back on Ingot Isle. And I think these monkeys are sort of the theme of this level. They're very much cheering Donkey Kong on as he gets in the barrel. He chips away this star somehow. I don't know what the purpose of it is, but he goes up through, and there we can see the base of Ingot Isle. And I think this is a revisit. It really does seem like it, just because of the coloring and the structure of it. As we'll see later, it's a little bit different from what we see in what seems to be the beginning of the game. We do have some other signs here. We've got simple tools, and what I think it reads here as I think it's pickaxe, and I'm struggling to, I have it noted here, I apologize. Pickaxe eats, I think is what it says. There's also another neon sign over here, but it's a little difficult to read. We got a B and an A, we got an O, T, and O, so it's hard to say what that might read as, but you know, tons of little details that you get to see. And here's that other bit I was telling you about before in the giraffe level, where we have this propeller box wearing, looks like to be headphones. But what it actually means, what he actually does, I don't know, because he doesn't seem to be an enemy, because here's a monkey just hanging out right next to him. So it might be fine. I don't know his purpose. Maybe change his music, maybe unlock more music. I don't know. Again, I'm trying to read what this might say, but it looks purposefully disheveled from everything else, so it's hard to tell exactly. But that was our first indication of barrels blasting DK to various places, and which, you know, won't be the last, but it's also nice to see that they will return. And of course, speaking of return, we have this classic look from the original Donkey Kong Country, very much emulating that first game, as this rock materializes in front of him, again carrying those purple circles. He punches through it before it can even really form, and the enemy goes flying. I think it's bird-like based on its structure. It's hard to even take a look at what it might have been, because it just hits the side. The legs look very, I think these are legs. They seem to be very bird-like. This also could be the eyes. So maybe these are just like antenna or something. So maybe it's like more like a bug. Hard to say for sure, but it goes splat as soon as it hits there before DK uses the barrel. And the sequence is basically almost over, but we do get to see that he'll get to pick up barrels and toss them around as well. Very much calling back to the original Donkey Kong Country. And here's our look at the minecart, which you think would be a whole exciting minecart sequence, and I hate to break it to you, at least so far, it's not. Right there's our structure, where we launched from before. So this is the part that disappeared behind the cliffside when Donkey Kong was doing the massive cliff climb. And it seems to be just a transport from point A to point B. I don't know if there's a massive minecart sequence in between, but I don't know if they would do that, considering of you going back and forth a certain area every time, whether you want to do that whole sequence, or maybe you just do it once and it clears out the minecart section. Hard to say for sure, but you do have these little engines and afterburners that spew out the same smoke as the giraffe stacks, and we can see more of this side over here where we got the the stack that I believe DK did his punch down into the center of, as well as a cliffside featuring the faces of the monkeys, which we can very obviously see the main monkey here, the little guy, but this it's hard to make out, but this looks like the female monkey. So I'd say that each side represents one of the three main villain monkeys that we'll see a little bit later on, which is a nice detail. You know, it's not their main area. I definitely don't expect that, but it shows sort of the vanity of this trio. And then we get this weird scene where we got more of these rock guys in various forms partying in a dance sequence with zebras wearing rock jewelry and a helmet and something. I don't know. This is weird. Again, these guys make the least amount of sense out of anything I see in this trailer. I don't get it whatsoever. But we're back in the yellow grass area where DK is just approaching a kind of realistic looking gorilla with a banana crown on his head, rings on his fingers, has these pyramid speakers, and behind him is just all these massive shipping containers. One with, of course, with a monkey on it, and the reds marking is certainly special. I'd say it's definitely keeping in the boat theme, just because of shipping containers often going on massive tankers. This even might be an anchor to a tanker like that. Hard to say for sure, but this seems to be the entrance to something. Like there's a panel here that, like, something's going on here, whether it's a bonus, an extra, I don't know, but we don't see it, unfortunately, but it's definitely leading DK that way. And hey, we get to see DK actually claim one of the bananas amongst a bunch of other bananas, which seems to be the ultimate goal. Like, he is just going for these gold bananas each time, and that sort of leads him forward as time goes on. So that seems to be the ultimate goal. I don't know. Again, I don't know what they unlock, especially if you get abilities from the triple ones, but why do the single ones just be the regular goal? I don't know. There's a bit to the structure that I don't fully understand yet, that I'm sure the treehouse will clear up. Another interesting thing here is here's Donkey Kong's introduction to the Rock Buddy. Has this little symbol of the main villain here, with Void on here, a Void written across, which seems to be indicating that this guy's a defect. And it's just, for some reason, was just abandoned by the villains. He's just not good enough somehow. And he decides to just literally latch on to DK. I think he's permanently stuck there. And maybe not the best, most comforting thing, because DK certainly doesn't seem to like it. But it does give me vibes of Ratchet and Clank, where you got this little guy who is considered a defect by the villain army, and he joins the main hero in order to put a stop to their plans. I could see it. I could see it being a thing. How much he talks or what his purpose is, we'll have to see. But he's cute. And now it's time for us to start getting a bit more of bosses and so forth. And here we have this sort of anglerfish. instead of a lantern at the tip, he has a light. So we got your red light, green light. What that might play into is hard to say. Also, weird triangular stuff in the mouth itself. But this definitely seems to be in the grassland area, or maybe the yellow grass, because there is a bit of yellow in the bottom bits here. It's hard to say for sure, but it's certainly a boss, and I'm thinking it's more the yellow grass area, just because these bits back here. But I definitely think it's a boss. This might even be defeating the boss, because it's the same color blue as DK just pounds through it, and it's going down this. You can see this structure. I don't know if this is a different boss and they just all similarly colored, but maybe it's a huge like eel or snake boss that's lined with all those gold or scales, and he just punches through it as for a more cinematic victory. It's hard to say for sure, but hey, we're back in the ostrich area, where we get to see their clothes and outfits, and how they very much remind me of Espresso from Donkey Kong Country. They're not Espresso because, well, they're wearing clothes and they're not wearing his sneakers, but that doesn't mean that Espresso couldn't show up eventually. It would be really cool. Also, love the extra detail of these lamps, where you have, it's egg-shaped with a ostrich design on each one in the middle. And hey, here is a building that accepts those coins, which I think is going to be the currency to get DK his new clothes and outfits as time goes on, or maybe change up colors. Hard to say exactly, but that is definitely a place that DK can shop at. In fact, there's even coins above it, so you can just immediately get some and spend them at this location. So interesting in that way. I also wonder if they might... I was wondering if they might have gotten under attack. The fact that like these gold tip ones seem to be almost turning into rocks. I mean, that's a threat, but it's also in this tip and around here. So I think it's just a coloration. But somehow punching this ostrich also allows DK to give him a thumbs up. It's a punch between friends. Who would have guessed? Oh goodness, but yeah, we have DK just spotting one of those golden bananas and just falling in love with it. It really does just label it as, this is the big goal. So not much to say here. It's just what he's after. And here he is actually breaking open one of the triple bananas. What's it mean? I don't know, but we do have another one of those slabs. There's not neon, more of the water bubbles just hanging in the air. And then like we have monkeys that sort of resemble the, hear no evil, speak no evil, say no evil. Not in the same ideas, just arms crossed and whatnot, but a similar approach, I guess. And definitely the monkey sort of theme for this one, just because we have those faces in the plants. Another flying enemy as we go along, but got all that. And yeah, he breaks it open, and that seems to be a goal. That seems to be a goal, but maybe this is his little celebration before he gets his new move. I don't know. This, to me, is absolutely the opening cutscene. We can see just more of the construction bits here that's a little farther out. We can see just all the hard hats, all the bananas being sucked into this central pillar here. Even some monkeys. Like you can see the monkeys getting carried along into whatever this thing is. And the reason I think this is the opening is because, well, look at all this area around that is just you don't see in the other shots that we've had at this point. And instead it has this massive magma rock surrounded by these purple circles again, pushing Ingot Isle down into the ground, which would separate it, and also might explain how it's all these other places are sort of separated from other things and kind of underground. Also kind of ties into the digging mechanic. This also gives us our look at our villains and a bunch of the rock creatures with the gold googly eyes, some crocodiles in here. We got a bat. We got our main three, which we'll get better views of in very soon. But more notably is like we got our burly red guy here actually holding on to the our purple friend, our little rock buddy. So I think this scene happens, or they're on top of this, because it definitely looks to be the same structure where they're just riding on top of this volcanic mound, circle mound, or whatever. I don't even know. And then eventually just toss him after this, maybe as he's objecting. And the reason I say this is the beginning, because there's DK without pants, without any outfit, and he's trying to hold on as it's getting sucked in. So I feel like this is DK's mind, or he's visiting Ingot Isle or something to that degree, and he just gets sucked into this whole situation as well. It definitely seems like we got these green bananas as well, which explains the green glowing bits here that we saw before. But there's also golden ones and of course triple ones. So there seems to be 3 levels of bananas to deal with here. So something to keep in mind. But now we have our confrontations with all of our other, our big 3 bad monkeys. This guy is definitely more mining based, has his pickaxe, little helmet, which is cute. No gold on him. He interestingly does not have, he's very simple and humble. He's very much a worker, and he has a patch from the villain, the main guy. That little guy is definitely the main villain, as we can see here. He even has the little circle structure symbols that we've seen sewed into his coat. But we can also see Voidco here. So he seems to be a company man somehow. He's running some sort of business, and so he has his foreman, and he's the boss. And as we get to the female monkey, it's pretty obvious that she's going to be the secretary. This is absolutely a boss. Just seems to be a bunch of different rock enemies all combined into one. You can even see their gold skeletal bits poking out here. This structure right here definitely catches my attention, because it feels like this is where DK punched his way through, and this is definitely part of the giraffe area where we saw in the distance before when he was riding the minecart. Off to the left and seeing all these interior areas on that cliff face, and this is where you fight that boss. And just have to avoid those a big version of those weapons as he leaps across and gets there. And I don't know if this is the aftermath or something else is going on. It's just continuous thing with these lava balls, but they seem to create more of this purple ooze that comes out as the 3 of them are hoarding these 6 banana bunches. Again, not 100% sure what's going on within them, but there it is. And again, more of the banana bunches surrounding our big bad here as he rides his little banana chair, rock banana chair, and even has a banana mic that to bark out orders and enjoy his wealth as he has his gold teeth. And as we continue on, got DK freaking out about something. I don't know exactly what. The girders in the background did seem to indicate that this might be more of Ingot Isle. Not 100% sure on that one. And here is that same gold structure that was inside the glass jar before, this time unleashed. And I don't know whether this is leading into a boss fight or the end of a boss fight where this thing just gets knocked loose. It seems to be opening his mouth a bit, so I have a feeling it's sort of opening things up, maybe leading into another boss. I don't know exactly where this area takes place, but it seems we got a sort of octopus-looking face and tentacles on top of a rolling ball of magma. Interesting idea for a boss, but there you go. Ready to fight. And here's our introduction to our final villain, where we have, again, more of the circle symbols along her pants, and she definitely has the vibe of a secretary. Just has the gold lipstick, and even those coins are shown on her, the gold versions of them are on her earrings, and even brooch on her neck. She even has her boss's perfume. They have branded perfumes there she's holding that again has Voidco on it, which means that void that was on our little rock buddy also might be Voidco, but it seems almost like yellow tape, so it's just like marking him as their property, but I still comes across as a defect in that way. It's hard to say for sure, but that's the general idea I get. And this seems to be DK kind of towards the end of the game, if I had to guess, because he is just completely upset. And interestingly, his microphone here is not opened. It's closed right now, so it's not actually in use. So he's not barking out orders. He's just upset at DK. And yeah, here we have DK, what seems to be in a celebration pose after he wins a level, as he has surrounded by the bananas and he's going to dive in to put that final end to things. Maybe he's breaking that molten structure. But yeah, that is the Donkey Kong Bonanza trailer. Again, we have this little section here at the end just to close it out. Some sort of sign, Ushin, caution probably, if I had to guess, is what's buried here. Again, tying into all the mining work we saw of the monkeys at Ingot Isle. He's dirtied, so he's definitely got pulled into this other world or just underground. He's trying to figure things out. So this is very much still the beginning of the game. And if I had to guess, the rock that drops on him that reveals our release date is how he meets our rock buddy to get that whole thing started and become friends, or at least maybe kick it off. I don't know. He somehow gets closed before that point, but again, love the animation here, and we don't have long to wait after the release of the Switch 2 for this game to be playable, July 17th. So yeah, there's a lot of fun details in here. It definitely has that DNA of Mario Odyssey while still very, very much being its own thing. It's great to have a new 3D Donkey Kong. Thank you for listening to me ramble about this for almost an hour. There's a lot of details here, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot of answers to those details, courtesy of the Treehouse tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and of course, be sure to subscribe to GVG, hit that like button, ring that bell, all that fun stuff. You can also check out our Patreon at patreon.com/gvgaming. And thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.